If you needed some type of motivation or sign to get out into the garden, this is definitely it. Today, I will be getting so many necessary things done. At the top of that list will be cleaning the greenhouse, which will allow me to bring in all of our plants that we are planning to overwinter. Our first frost is knocking on the door, and I need to expedite everything that I have put off until this moment. The garden is looking absolutely beautiful, and I look forward to sharing all of its growth with you today, because what gardener doesn't like a well-curated garden space filled with baby plants that are excited about growing? It's so hard to believe that it's already November, but it is. But just because it is the fall doesn't mean that there is a lack of growth in the garden. Doesn't mean that we don't have work to do inside the greenhouse. It doesn't mean that at all. In fact, although it is definitely a slower season, there are so many things that we can do in our slow season that helps our busy season, the spring garden season, so much. I am taking down our shade cloth, our burlap shade cloth, because we don't need a shade cloth in the fall and in the winter, and we don't need it at the beginning of the season. This shade cloth was such a blessing through the summer. I don't think I would have been able to be in the greenhouse at all. But now that we are at this point, I can take it down so that we can get plenty of heat and sunlight in the greenhouse. So overwintering our pepper plants is actually going to tremendously help us out in the spring, because we don't have to worry about if our pepper plants are going to sprout or not, if they are going to germinate or not. Okay, so side note, y'all, this burlap fibers is no joke. Like, it will be all up in your nose, all up in your face, all in your clothes. So just keep that in mind if you are thinking about using burlap. It's been so wonderful and I've loved it, but I thought I would mention those fibers. They get everywhere. So I just have to admit that I really love the cooler weather, and I love the fall garden. Last fall, it became my favorite time to garden. It was just something about it was just so wonderful. It was probably the lack of bugs, mosquitoes. We didn't have any pest pressure. This year, I've already seen way more pest pressure than we saw the whole entire fall and winter season, which is so wild. And I mean, I'm hoping that it dies down now that we are about to enter our first frost. I don't know if it's going to freeze the caterpillars or what's going to happen, but I'm hoping that that pest pressure goes far, far away. So we've been drying so many different things in the greenhouse. This is lemongrass and it smells so amazing, y'all. Like, so good. I've also been drying this basil in the greenhouse to save these seeds, and oh my goodness, the fragrance and the aroma in here is just divine. So good. I'll be the first to tell you that I am the last person that needs to save another basil seed. I've saved so many basil seeds up until this point. I don't even know what I'm going to do with all this basil, but I know that the basil already self-seeded. Plus, I have so many seeds, but how can you not save them? It's so hard. I'm going to have to just call this mystery basil, because I've planted so many different varieties this last spring. And when I pulled these to collect the seeds, I did not label what plant I was pulling it from. And so I don't have a clue what variety of basil, and all the seeds are all mixed together. So from now until forever, I'm going to have mystery basil. Okay, so I am trying something very different this year with overwintering these specific peppers. There were so many peppers the other day that were still just doing so well, and the plants are doing well. And because I don't have a whole lot of gallon pots to put all of these in, I decided that I'm going to try to bulk overwinter these peppers. Like put them all in one big pot and fill that pot with soil and see how they do. So I decided to put the leaves right in the pot. Ow. Ow. Why do you poke at me? So what I'm putting in the greenhouse now is all of our citrus trees. These are patio trees, and so they are meant to be small, but they very much so are ready to be potted up into a larger pot. So before next spring comes, I'm definitely going to be up potting these so that they have more room to grow. We did not get any fruit this spring or summer from these plants, but I was able to harvest the leaves, which have been so delicious in tea, and they have so many benefits. And so it was definitely still a win, although we didn't get actual fruit. Another in the citrus family that we are storing in the greenhouse is our lemongrass. I potted up these pepper plants probably a month ago, and they started producing, and we're so happy in these pots. I'm sad that I now have to take away all the hope of them producing more peppers, but really it's the frost that's doing it and not me. I am going to give everything a good water because I don't really plan to water it throughout the fall and winter unless it just looks very crispy and dry. But other than that, I'm just planning to kind of just leave it alone. I'm also considering if I might wrap some of these things in plastic. It really depends on the temperature in the greenhouse, and I won't know until we experience it. But that is in my back pocket just in case temperatures really drop. We aren't doing anything to warm the greenhouse, so that is one of my backup plans. I'm so happy to show you guys how these carrots are growing. You know, it was a struggle over here, but these carrots are growing. And so, listen, that egg carton came through. This tomato plant was growing right beside a cabbage and I did not plant it. And so I'm just going to pot it up and place it in the greenhouse and we'll see if it wants to continue to grow. The zinnia also grew on its own. It really thought it was spring, y'all. It's so beautiful. These peppers almost didn't fit in this spot, but I'm glad that they did. When I tell you these parsnips been growing for like a year, that is not an exaggeration, and they're so tiny. I just don't think that that was a great spot for them. Tiny food can still be eaten. Our sugar snap peas are finally starting to trellis and to flower, and they make my heart so happy. So let me tell you, these worms, when you see a bunch of holes and you cannot find the culprit, they are normally hiding. This was a big worm hiding right in the middle, but we got him. I know that it cannot just be me. Who else feels absolutely incredible whenever your garden space is just so nice and so tidy? It makes me feel so accomplished to walk into this space and just have all of my mind just clear to be able to sit in a space that's just organized and ready to go. It's ready to help me do whatever I need to do next. And so this is definitely the goal all the time. I don't always do it all the time, but whenever I do, it just feels right and it feels like you can just have so much peace in this space, and it's beautiful. And we ought to want to always be good stewards of what we have. I'm so grateful for everything that's been given to us. All of this is not guaranteed. It's definitely a gift, and it's so beautiful, and our family loves this space. I love this space. It brings me so much joy. I am so grateful that you choose to hang out with me in the garden and in the greenhouse. It makes my heart so happy to have so many garden friends. It really does. It's not a small thing when you take time to spend time with me in the garden, when you take time to show me and give me love down in the comment section, or tell me about your garden space and what you're growing, and allow me to celebrate those wins with you as well. Like, I love that. And so thank you for sharing this garden space with me and allowing me to share your garden space with you.